Hi there, everyone. We finally come, I think many might feel, to the end of our Philippians series called Locked Up, and we are taking a look at the book of Philippians and the letter that Paul wrote to the church in Philippi. We're going to just jump in again where we left off last time, so we're going to read Philippians chapter 4. Verse 10 we're supposed to be, but let me start with chapter 4, verse 13, simply because it's interesting. In Philippians chapter 4, verse 13, Paul says, I can do everything through him who gives me strength. Now, this is one of the most misquoted verses used of the Bible. Evander Holyfield actually had Philippians 4, verse 13 on his, almost said his boxer shorts. I can call it boxer shorts, I take it. It wasn't his undies, but it was his boxer shorts. When he fought, I think, Mike Tyson. And the idea was that he could conquer Mike Tyson through him who gives me strength. I don't think Paul is offering in Philippians 4 verse 13 a timeless slogan for those who want to beat up other men in competition, or those who want to conquer the odds against business. You know, hey, the business odds are against me, but I can do anything through him who gives me strength, or to do well in a test that you didn't study for. I didn't put in the work that I needed to, but I can do everything through him who gives me strength. So, if that's not what it is, then what is it? If we back up a little bit and we go to verse 10, Paul says, I rejoice greatly in the Lord. Why? I rejoice greatly in the Lord that you at last have renewed your concern for me. Indeed, you have been concerned, but you have had no opportunity to show it. In other words, he is grateful to the Lord for the financial gift that they have sent him along with Epaphroditus. He then continues saying, I'm not saying this because I am in need. Okay, I'm thankful to the Lord. Thank you for the gift. You wanted to give it. You didn't have an opportunity. Now you did. You sent it with Epaphroditus. I'm not saying this because I'm in need. But what do you mean you're not in need? What do you mean you're not in need of money, not in need of gift? We've looked at before that when people were in jail, the government didn't supply them with food to meet their needs. They were dependent on a family or friends to be able to help them. So Paul, if we're not going to help you, then who is going to help you? Why is it that you're not in need? He says, for I have learned, okay? Meaning that what he is about to say doesn't come naturally. It is a battle that had to be fought and had to be won. He says, why am I in need? For I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. I have learned, I'm not in need, for I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. I have learned not to be influenced by my circumstances. I've learned not to be influenced by what happens to me or what happens around me. Verse 12, for I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. He says, listen, you guys, I've been on both sides of this fence. There's been times where I had a lot more than what I needed. And then there's been times where I've had a lot less than I've needed. But he continues, but I've learned the secret of being content, being independent from circumstances in any and in every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I've learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or want to, which we want to say, super freak, okay? Who on earth can live like that? How do you manage to do it? How do you manage to live a life and get yourself in a space of contentment, irrespective of what's happening to you, Paul? What is the secret of your contentment? Verse 13 he now gives us the answer. Our verse, for I can do everything through him who gives me strength. What is the everything that he can do through him who gives me strength? In the context of what he has been saying, the everything is being content. In other words, I am able to be content irrespective of my circumstances. I'm able to be content irrespective of whether I have plenty or whether I'm in want, whether I'm well-fed or hungry. How do I do it? Through him who gives me strength. I'm content through him who gives me strength. Philippians 4 verse 13 is an actual fact saying the exact opposite of what people are using it for. people are usually using it to say, I can do all things through him who gives me strength. I can conquer. I can overcome the odds that are against me. I can beat up the enemy or the challenge and win the day through him who gives me strength. But that's not what Paul is saying. Paul is saying, no, I don't have to conquer. I don't have to overcome the odds that are stacked up against me. I don't have to beat up the enemy and win the day in order to be content. No, I am content through the one who gives me strength. Jesus as the Messiah is the begin all and end all of all things. And he is the one that provides me with contentment. So, I can do all things, and all things being, I can be content, as difficult as it might be, for others. I'm sitting here in jail, okay? I might be executed soon as I'm awaiting trial, but I am content. Why or how? Because I can do all things through him who gives me strength. Now, all of that being said, he obviously doesn't want them to seem ungrateful for the gift that they've given him. So he says in verse 14, yet, all of that being said, it was good for you to share in my troubles. Moreover, as you Philippians know, in the early days of your acquaintance with the gospel, when I set out from Macedonia, not one church shared with me in the matter of giving and receiving except you. For even when I was in Thessalonica, you sent me aid again and again when I was in need. Not that I'm looking for a gift, but I'm looking for what could be credited to your account. Now, he first starts by saying no other church shared in the matter of giving and receiving. Now, if you remember in the very first class introduction that we looked at it, we said that in letters of friendship, and friendship in the ancient time was almost like a business transaction, giving and receiving. And he says, no other church I've had no other church have had the relationship with me and me with them as I have with you in this matter of giving and receiving. But then he says something interesting, verse 17, he says, not that I'm looking for a gift, okay? This is good for us to be in this relationship, but not that I'm looking for a gift, but I'm looking for what may be credited to your account, okay? He's saying, guys, this gift that I've received is actually not about me because I don't need the money. Remember, I'm content. This is actually about you, and it's actually about what can be credited to your account. It's about you having an opportunity to be like Jesus. It's about you having an opportunity to be generous, to be sacrificial, and looking at the needs of others above your own. So this gift, I'm very grateful for it, but it's actually more for you than what it is for me. Verse 18, I've received full payment and even more. I am amply supplied now that I've received from Epaphroditus the gifts you sent. They are a fragrant offering, an acceptable sacrifice pleasing to God. So listen here, it was good for you guys to do this. Why? Because it is good for your relationship with God. And you giving me this gift, it's a fragrant offering that is pleasing to God. This is not about me. It's not about me receiving the gift. This is all about you having the opportunity to be like Jesus and you being able to make a sacrifice and a fragrant offering to God. Boy, is that a different way to look at contribution. Okay? Where often we think, well, it is, I am gifting the church. I am gifting God. Paul is saying, no, in actual fact, this is good for us to give. It's good for our hearts. It's good for us to think of the needs of others, God's work above our own. And it's good for us to be able in our giving, whether it is to church work, whether it is to compassion needs, it is good for us to give a fragrant offering like that to God. Verse 19, and my God, notice again, my God, not our God, but my God will meet all your needs according to his glorious riches in King Jesus. To our God and Father be the glory forever and ever. Amen. Okay, here is another verse that is often misquoted or taken out of context. And my God will meet all your needs according to his glorious riches in King Jesus. Your sacrifices, he is saying, will have a payoff. For my God will meet all your needs according to his glorious riches in King Jesus. So what are these needs that God will meet according to his riches in King Jesus? Is he talking about money and possessions? I think that is highly unlikely, as this whole section has been about the unimportance of money and possession. So why would he then suddenly turn a corner and say, that being said, don't worry about it, God's going to make you wealthy and healthy? So if he's not talking about money and possessions, then what is he talking about? What are the needs that will be met according to the glorious riches of King Jesus? Personally, I think that the glorious riches that God will give you comes from a life in Jesus, the peace that we have in Jesus, the ability to be transformed into the image of Jesus, the power of sin that gets broken in our lives through being in Jesus. That is the glorious riches where we can be broken free of the troubles of this world. Not meaning that we will not have troubles in this world, because Jesus himself said, you will have trouble in this world, but take heart, for I have overcome. I've shown you the way how to handle the troubles of the world, and how you handle it is by being content. How you handle it is by trusting God. How you handle it is by surrendering to His will, believing that He is sovereign and that He knows that He's doing. Paul knows that all these kind of blessings will be theirs because they have sacrificed their worldly wealth, not to gain back more, but to experience the full life of the Messiah by becoming more and more like Him. And by them sacrificing these gifts, they were really following in the footsteps of Jesus, which Paul also previously said that I desire to be like Christ, to suffer like Him, to eventually also be resurrected with Him. He then closes with a final greeting, and as I said before, nothing is just by chance, but everything has intent. He closes with a final greeting saying, greet all the saints in the Messiah. The brothers who are with me send greetings. Verse 22, all the saints send you greetings, especially those who belong to Caesar's household. A little name dropping there. The grace or the favor of King Jesus be with your spirit. Amen. What do you notice? Paul closes his letter in the same way that he started. In the beginning, he wrote back in Philippians 1 verse 1, to all the saints, all those set apart in the Messiah. Now he closes his letter with greetings to all those set apart in the Messiah, all those who've been set apart for him. He opened his letter in Philippians 1 verse 2 by saying, grace and peace to you from God, our Father, and the Messiah. Now he closes his letter by saying, the grace of the Messiah be with you. What do we learn? From beginning to end, it is all about King Jesus as the Messiah and about you and me being faithful to Him. And from beginning to end, it's all about His favor, His grace, that remember, the one who began a good work into you will carry it on to completion unto the day of Christ. Therefore, work out your salvation, that from the beginning to end, it is His favor and His grace that enables us to be faithful to Him, that enables us to be broken away from sin, that enables us to reflect the image of God. Therefore, Paul says, as I sit here in my rotten prison cell in Rome, with all of that in mind, with whatever is happening, the persecution, whether in want, whether in need, well-fed, hungry, whatever it is, I want to say to you, rejoice in the Lord. I think that's the call for all of us, that no matter what happens, good or bad, well-fed or hungry, positive or negative, single or married, whatever happens, life is going to happen. There's going to be times of plenty, there's going to be times of want. But we have to land in a place where we can say, where I can say, where you can say, not just a nice slogan, but let us rejoice in the Lord. How do we do it? How do we get that contentment? Philippians 4:13, for I can do everything through Him who gives me strength. God bless. Amen.